says, "For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 outside. I would rather stand at the threshold of the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness." In the TPT, it says, "For just one day of intimacy with you is like 1,000 days of joy rolled into one. I'd rather stand at the threshold in the front of the gate beautiful, ready to go in and worship my God, than to live my life without you in the most beautiful place of the wicked." I know back in the day when I was a kid, in church there used to be a song we would sing about one day in his courts, or one day in his presence is better than 1,000 elsewhere. And at the time that I always heard the song or heard it said, I never grasped what it actually meant. And I feel like a lot of times we don't grasp maybe what this scripture means and the bliss that is actually in this scripture. And the presence of the Lord is what this is all about here. And there was a song that I've heard recently, and during the spontaneous part of the song, Dante Bowie actually is singing it, and he begins to sing about one day with you is better than 1,000 elsewhere. And every time I listen to it, it just hits me so hard, because now that I know who he is and how important his presence is in my life, it literally is the essence of my life and who I am, that this one day in your presence, Lord, I would literally take just one day in your presence. And if I had to lose 1,000 days of life just to have one day in your presence, Lord, one day in his presence, oh, I would give it all. I would give it all. And that's just how important his presence is. And that's what I think the scripture really just talks about, is how important his presence is, how key it is in our lives. That literally, I would literally spend one day in your presence, and at the gates, or in the actually most beautiful place of wickedness. And this is also talking to somebody who, or really we all have been at this point at one point in our lives, of where we lived our lives in wickedness and in sin, and enslaved to the things of this world and spiritual blindness, that we would spend days in the sin of the world, in the world, and how the world sees things, and how we walked in these same ways. But the one moment that he came, the one moment when we felt his presence, when he came and all that he is, and touched our lives for the first time, man, we would give anything to keep that going in our lives and give up everything that we ever did. And you would think, you think that, oh my gosh, what have I been doing my whole life living without you, Jesus? What have I been doing this whole time? I've wasted so much time. And that's simply what the scripture is saying. That, Lord, this one day, this one moment that I've had in your presence, this 1 second where you touched me and wrecked my life, and I see in your heart and how much you love me. Oh, how I reject everything of this world, and wish I never would have been a part of it. And I wish I would have known you from the start. This is literally how important his presence is. It's key in our lives. His presence is so bliss. But the blessing is that now it's not a one day thing. This is a continual thing. Those 1,000 days can be every day spent in the fullness of who he is, in the intimacy with him. And the TPT, it just breaks it down so well, that just one day of intimacy with you is 1,000 days of joy rolled into one. In other words, that this one day spent adoring you and looking to you, the Creator, the one who loves me, who lavishes himself upon me as I adore him, is equivalent to 1,000 days of joy into one. This walk is not a walk of sorrow or shame. Christian life is full of joy. And this is what his intimacy brings. It's total joy. He brings so much joy into our lives that we should not be walking around with our heads down, upset at the world and what we're going through. But this place of intimacy, this days that we spend with him every single day, we start in this one day. Every day, Lord, this day I will look to you for everything. That intimacy is where my life will start and end. You see, the Christian life starts at his feet and it ends at his feet. And every day in between is the same thing over and over and over again. Because when you find who he is, his presence is all you desire. His person is all you desire. So let this one day, maybe you need to find yourself back into this place of him, but let this one day of me looking to him, and maybe today's the day that I start this day, Lord, I will look to you and only you. And that while I'm looking to you, whether I'm only standing outside of the gate, Lord, you will meet me there. Lord, as long as I'm looking to you, it doesn't matter where I'm at, you'll meet me there. You'll come running swiftly to me to wrap me in your arms and just love me because it's what you love to do. So let this be the place where we live our lives, of seeking and looking for his presence wherever it is. Lord, I'll go, I'll see, I'll do, I'll become, I'll do whatever you want me to do, Lord, if I can have you. So let us have him as he gives us access to himself. Let us take hold of him. This is all he desires, is that we would just look to him, take hold of him, look to him every day, and your joy will be unending. Nothing will stop this joy. Nothing can stop this joy when we live in his presence. So let us live each day in the intimacy and sweetness of who he is, and never let it go. God bless you.